Hi everyone. So a bunch of people here write Haskell. So let's write some Haskell. Yeah. So I'm gonna pop open GHCI. You do that. So if I want to define a data type, there's two ways to do that, right? There's two ways of doing things that take up more than one line in GHC. So the first thing you can do is you can do that and go data foo equals. Okay, that worked. Great. Yeah. I did it. Okay, so there's another way, right? So what you can do is you can set multi-module, right? Multi-line, right? So you can do data foo equals. Wait, no. Wait. Okay, no, it's not quite right. So I need to put this on a new line, I think. Yeah. Okay, this isn't quite right. And in general, I find it like really frustrating to try to type things that take up more than one line in GHCI, right? So it's fine. No big deal. Just pop up in text editor, right? So, oh, okay, I'm already in Tmux. Never mind. So I do the same thing that I was doing before. By the way, if you all want to learn about Nix, feel free to come talk to me after. I really like it. As you probably know if you. Anyway. So please bear with my Vim jankiness, but this is much easier, right? I can go data foo equals. Great. So do that. And it works, and I can load. Great. Also works. So if I want to add another data type called bar. So do that and reload it in. Oh, oops. My bad. Good call. All right. So I reload. And go for X. It's not in Sclip anymore. It unloaded all my definitions. I don't like this. Like, so it feels like these are my options, right? To either have GHCI open and try to like somehow massage all my definitions so they're like all one line, or like do the multi-line stuff. Or I open a text editor and then I'm constantly hopping back and forth between a text editor and my GHCI, and it's not good. I don't like it very much. So let's try something else. Let's use IHaskell. Yeah, IHaskell. Okay, now I can, I can show you the. Oops. Wait, what? What am I doing wrong? Oh yeah, I've got a new constructor. Thank you. Whoop. Okay, works. You can like. So if I'm happy with the way this works out, I can change this to something else. No big deal. And then right works essentially. I have like all these cells, and when I edit something, everything that I wrote before doesn't go away. I can reload cells by themselves. I can run cells in parallel. Sorry, not in parallel, sequentially. And I can do things that are non-linear, although in general, like I prefer to not do that because it makes it very confusing to see what actually happens. So every so often, I'll find myself like restarting and running everything. Do that. So anyway, that's essentially what Haskell looks like. This is where the project lives. So here. So start off with GHCI. I don't like it very much. Text editor plus GHCI, I also don't like it very much. End up at IHaskell. I'm pretty happy with this, especially like when I was starting out learning Haskell. This was like invaluable for me. I don't think I would have learned Haskell without this. So that's where the project lives. Back to my slides. What can you do with it? So I like to use it as a Scratchpad. So, for example, Ed Yang has a cool like problem set on the code density transformation, which from the paper about asymptotic improvement of computations of free monads. So you can kind of like go through this. You can copy it into a text file and like edit it that way. But I thought it would be pretty cool if I could just like pop it into an IHaskell notebook, right? So it turns out you can do that. Just pop it in an IHaskell notebook. Like I did the exercises. But not only did I do the exercises, I can save the exercises and I can put them on my my GitHub for anyone to see, or for myself to see like later. So that's one thing you can do with them. Another thing you can do with them is you can write blog posts with them. So I write almost all of my blog posts with IHaskell notebooks. So for example, this is a blog post about continuations and typed holes. So this is especially great because like the typed holes, you can actually get the typed hole output like in the Jupyter notebook, and you can export this whole thing to Markdown, right? I can just plop it on my blog, and that's what it looks like. Works great. Most it works so great in fact that if you look at most of my blog posts, most of them are IHaskell notebooks. Like this one is. If I'm starting a new blog post, it's mostly Haskell or all Haskell. I have to ask myself, should this not be on Jupyter notebook, and go from there. So it's pretty good for that. Another thing that you can use it for is you can use it for presentations. So I wrote a Jupyter notebook like trying to like implement like minimal Git. So I did that and turned that into a blog post, and then I also turned it into a presentation. So I turned that's a blog post, it's a presentation, it's online, you can see it for yourself if you want. So it's there. So how do you get IHaskell? So you can install it locally like I have. Works great with Nix, works with Stack also. Works with mybinder.org. So some people decided that they wanted to make Docker containers with IHaskell notebooks in them. Make IPython available to more people. So they just put IPython, so they created the service where you can kind of load a IPython notebook in, and it turns out it supports Docker containers. So I made it support IHaskell. So let's see if this actually works. Oh no, we broke it. Okay, I might have to reload this again. Oop. Okay, I might come back to that in a bit. Okay, in the meantime, another cool thing you can do is you can so actually, Gershom was involved in this because I gave a presentation at the New York Haskell users group like ages ago, and Gershom like put me in touch with the CodeCalc people because they've been trying to get IHaskell. They've been trying to get IHaskell working on their stuff. So let's see if this actually works. So this is a free service, by the way. You can kind of go to CodeCalc, get a notebook. I don't really care what it's called. Let's create one. Wait, no, did I do something wrong? Okay. Yep. Apologies. Great. So I think you can change the language that it uses. Oh, yeah, it's just default to Haskell. What's everyone's favorite Haskell expression? My favorite one to show everyone is like the fibs, because it's so easy, yet so actually make this a lot bigger. There you go. Plus fibs. Okay, worked. How many fibs do people want? Oh, that's a bit rude, I think. Okay, 17. Moment of truth, right? Okay, seems to have worked. So the binder thing also seems to have, oh no, it's still going. Never mind. It's the problem with like doing live demos in cloud infrastructure, things just break on you. It's unfortunate. Yeah, CodeCalc as well. So what else is out there? So you're like, okay, for whatever reason, I don't want to use IHaskell. I want to use all the other stuff that's out there because surely there's like tons and tons of stuff out there, right? So one alternative is this thing called Haskell Do. Haskell is a code editor. Well, unfortunately, it hasn't been updated in a while. If you can see that. It doesn't work great with the newest stuff. So you're like, okay, never mind. Surely there's like tons of other alternatives. Another one's called HyperHaskell. It's another thing. And their thing is instead of using a Python dependency, because we piggyback off the Jupyter notebook infrastructure, they implement their own thing, and they use Node.js. Also, it doesn't really work. I mean, maybe it does now, but when I tried it a couple months ago, I was very unimpressed. This cool new project someone also announced recently called PTGHCI, which is the console component of IHaskell. So IHaskell also has a console component, which I won't demo because I don't really use it that much. Let's see. This has like pretty cool, like, well, at least it did. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe it's just my laptop's confused because I'm connecting to a projector, but it has like demos here. Anyway, so those are, as far as I'm aware, those are all the options. There aren't any others. So all of them are, yeah. So what's next with the Jupyter Notebook project? The Jupyter Notebook, what's next for us is that, I find like in Haskell and especially like there's this tension between like boiling the ocean, like just going ahead and solving everything versus like piggybacking off an existing solution. So boiling the ocean is like the kind of thing that, GHCJS, we're like, okay, we want to like write Haskell that runs in the browser. So how do we do that? So you could like, compile to like, you have the Elm approach and you have the first script approach, or you could actually just go ahead and figure out how to get GHC itself to run in the browser. And that's the GHCJS approach. Sorry, that's the boiling the ocean approach. So in IHaskell, we made this decision. This decision was made to like piggyback off the existing Jupyter Notebook infrastructure, but that also means that like there's a limit to how deeply we can integrate. If we implemented everything from scratch, then everything would like work perfectly together. And that's something that I kind of like wonder about and not really sure what the right solution is. So I kind of became a maintainer of IHaskell about 2 years ago, and since then I focused on adding, like improving the Nix support and adding supporting GHC. So I implemented GHC 8.2, 8.4, and 8.6 support. All of those work. You can try them. I test that every time I make a commit. And so IHaskell is, so I think the biggest challenge with IHaskell is that if you wanted to install IHaskell, you need to install a Python environment that's configured a certain way, and you need to install a Haskell environment a certain way. And like none of the Haskell build tools out there will do that for you. That's kind of frustrating. Don't really know what to do about that, except use Nix. So this is another reason I'm like really like all in on Nix, because it's the only thing that installs IHaskell correctly. But recently, Ed was showing me this really cool project. Codex. So the idea is that I think part of the idea is it's going to be a cool editor for his Coda language, but it's like buttery smooth. And if you could get like a pure Haskell like thing, then I'd be quite happy to like just abandon IHaskell and like let everyone else kind of take care of it. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention is that the DFC support. So the GHC, I don't know if you all know this, but the GHC API changes like in backwards incompatible ways across versions, and there isn't really a change log. So I can't just like look at a document that tells me like what to change. So usually what I end up doing is, I'll figure out a way of compiling all the dependencies of IHaskell with a new version of GHC, load it up, see where I get the type errors, fix those up, make sure that like all the tests pass, because sometimes even though the types are correct, like there's some strings have changed in ways that are incompatible, because some of the GHC API is stringly typed, unfortunately. So it turns out that, I was like very excited when like Neil Mitchell announced that, this cool thing called GHC lib. It was great. So but then you kind of like scroll down, it doesn't contain a runtime system, it doesn't contain a package database. So this would be like perfect for me, except it doesn't actually run the code, so I can't use it. There we are. So I can't use that, in case anyone is going to like point out that, hey, have you heard about this cool thing? Yes, I have. And I guess really that's mostly it. I'm not really sure what people want to hear about, but I have like a lot of time for questions, and I have a bunch of like suggested questions that you can ask me if you're interested. But really, that's essentially all I have. I just wanted to, yeah. I mean, another thing I could do is I could like show you in more detail all the cool like bells and whistles of IHaskell if people are interested. One cool thing you can do, which I guess I should have mentioned much earlier, is that you can draw diagrams with it. So this is something you can't do in GHCI. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff. We have like a demo notebook in our thing that I can kind of run you through. I might as well, right? So simple expressions, like blah 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 blah. What's the interesting stuff? Oh, you can enable language extensions. That's cool, I guess. Yeah. Oh, you can like display things. No, no, never mind. I should just run everything. Just watch like my screen kind of just go nuts with all the stuff that's happening. Wait for it. Yes, there we go. Okay, yeah. Colors, you can render JSON nicely. You can render images. We have like image support, like I just showed you. We have like chart support. We have HLint integration. We have Google integration, help. And this talks directly to GHC API, by the way, because I don't really know if there is a GHCI API, but this project existed before that. So we just like talk directly to GHC, which is why we can do stuff like rendering images, which none of the other stuff can do. So PTGHCI, I think they have like, the goal is, I think at some point that they'll also implement a Jupyter notebook. But I'm curious how that's going to be, because they actually like launch a GHCI subprocess and like communicate with GHCI. Yeah, I guess another thing that I could point out is that people are like, oh, I can use this for data science. Yes, you can use it for data science, but I don't think that the ecosystem is like quite there yet. So yeah, questions, comments, suggestions, other things that, hey.
So like, can I like have I guess a bunch of different Haskell packages or like a Nix derivation?
Yes.
Yeah, and just anything that's like in that derivation
More or
in
less.
scope for the IHaskell.
Yeah, more or less. So you can. So let's do an example, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, no, not this. This is the wrong. Okay, so I have my IHaskell notebook. What is a package people want? Like, assuming that it's available. Okay, sweet. Okay, it might take a few seconds to compile. So I added to my dependencies. Then I. So this derivation, this expression that I just showed you. Oh, it's already in scope. That's great. No, is it? Yes, yes, it is. Okay. This derivation I showed you is more complicated than it has to be because some of the dependencies that I need to like show images haven't been updated for 8.6 just yet. So I was showing you an 8.4 Jupyter notebook. But because I'm using Nix, this coexists peacefully with all my 8.6 Jupyter notebooks. Okay, so let's pop open a new notebook. No, this is the wrong window. My bad. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Just delete everything that came before. New notebook. Okay. So so I actually don't use lens that much. How do people use lens? So import. What's the thing that you import? Import control.lens. Is that right? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have that. What do people want me to do? Hit me. Well, okay. Let me just okay confirm they're loaded. Okay, you can do type information. _1 of what?
Well, let's see. Try traverse of. How about fmap of _1?
Okay. Fmap of fmap of?
Yes.
Like that? Yeah.
And just +1.
Like the section?
Yes.
+1?
And then like 1 comma high.
Oh, give me the tuple 1 comma high. Sorry, fmap over? Like that? Yeah, it works. Yeah. No, so wow, this is like I said, this talks to the GHC API. So like almost anything that you can do with GHC, you can do with this. You know, so we have like this like fancy feature that like was implemented by the original author Andrew, where you can go module blah, where because you know it's like, okay, this is cool, but this uses GHCI, right? So it's interpreted. So what if you wanted to like have some code that's compiled? So you do that, and I think it like transparently will like create the file for you. You see that? So it'll transparently it's transparently like written into a file, compiled it, loaded it back in. So the idea is that, you know, if you do like a Fibonacci or whatever, it's much faster like compiled and interpreted. So maybe I should do that. Do you all want to see that? That's still pretty slow. This laptop is like not that shiny. Fib1 equals 1, fib I choose 0.
Really helpful one is doing project Vaibhav.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, so have you all heard of the advent of code challenges? Have you all heard of the advent of code challenges? Yeah, Justin has. So if you go to my GitHub, wait, no. I've done like, I've been doing the advent of code challenges for like a while now. Oops. So I've been doing them in like notebooks for like a while. So I haven't done all the challenges from 2018 yet. But if you go to like my 2017, for example, like I have like reproducible, like you can kind of go to my notebooks and you can see all of them, and they're all like done with like IHaskell. So I don't know if this so sometimes the GitHub rendering is a bit weird. Oh, but this one works. So yeah, I've done all my advent of code challenges in them. For example, you're asking about like arbitrary like packages. So I actually have like a helper library. So this is like a Cabal library with stuff, and it's like just loaded into my just loaded in. It's like it's added as a package. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you can do pretty much lots of stuff. So anything else? Any other questions, comments, suggestions? I could just give you a breather, like it's like 10 more minutes. No, okay, cool. What's the question?
Create that IHaskell on the root. What if you have two different notebooks that define a module with the same name?
Don't do that. Yes, Colin.
What about interactivity in the output of the notebook?
Oh, you mean like widgets and stuff? So there used to be an iHaskell widgets library. It still exists, but then IPython changed the way that they represent widgets under us. So this is what I meant with the piggybacking. I think someone's working on trying to update the way that we speak to the widget protocol, so it's compatible with new stuff. But yeah, I mean that used to be supported, and it hopefully will be supported again in the future. Yeah. Also, yeah. Does anyone? Yeah. More questions? No? Cool. Debuggers? Like, what do you mean? Like, we support debug. Debug. Well, no. Debug. So handling standard in and standard out is and standard error is a bit weird. It's a bit wonky. So things like that use like puts to line and get line. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Debug.trace does work, but it like puts the output like in the output here, as opposed to like where you want it in the notebook. So it does work, and I have used, I've like debugged things that happen in Jupyter Notebook, but like the process isn't as good as it could be. Yes.
Can it show you the type of like everything's in scope?
Yep.
Sort of
I mean, I guess. What do you mean? Yeah, like if I import, is control.lens in scope here? It is, right? That's odd. Oh no, sorry. This is a different notebook than the one that I wanted. My bad. Map of, like for example, yeah. It's like, is there a more involved example that you want?
Can you show me all of the things in control lens?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Like colon browse to do that HDR, right?
I don't know if we've implemented control browse, but we do have like tab completion. So if you do like map like that, it'll show me all the map things that are in scope.
If you type control.lens dot and have it then.
Yep. Yeah. Control.lens dot map. No, I guess not. Wait, no, it does. There was.
What about just control.lens dot and then hit tab?
Yeah, that works.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. This is the thing, right? I've been using this for like 2 years now. Like no, 3 years now. Like ever since I like started learning Haskell, and like I show people, and sometimes they're like, "What is that?" And other times they're like, "But why?" And other, oh, this is why. It's great. I start off all my like explorations by like typing stuff into an iHaskell notebook, and then I like can export it. You can export things to like Markdown. You can export things to like a Haskell file. Maybe I should just quit out of that so I can show you. I can totally like just download this as a Haskell file. There's a notebook in any of these like different formats. For me, my personal thing that I haven't figured out quite how to do yet is to get like slides. but inside the slide is a cell that I can like live code in. Like that's the thing that I want that I haven't been able to figure out yet. Apparently there's ways of doing that for like IPython, but I don't really know. But yeah, if you know how to do that, like please come talk to me. Yes.
Is the CodeCalc version feature complete with everything you've shown here? Like, can I do the graphics in that one?
Yes, you can. I think so. So the graphics are enabled by external like additional packages, and I'm not sure if those packages are installed in CodeCalc, but there might be. And if they are, you can definitely do this. Yeah. It's a kind of an old version though. I think it's like not super old, but a bit old. It would be nice to like update that, but I should talk to them about that. Yeah. Cool. Yes.
You were saying Nix is really the easiest way to do this now. Is your future trend going to be stick with that, or you could try to expand on other ways of installing?
It does install with Stack, and it does like support Cabal because like Nix just like runs Cabal under the hood. So it does support like Stack. It supports Nix. If you like want to use Cabal, like for whatever reason you like refuse to use any of the other methods, like talk to me and I'm sure we can figure something out. It does support Cabal. But yeah, yeah, I feel like this is probably a good point to like end on. Just take a breather. Get ready for some Bell. Thanks.